Hi everyone, Jake here from the Owings Mills branch of the Baltimore County Public Library, and today I'm bringing you my list of 5 manga series that you might have missed. Now, I'm not going to be talking about series that are extremely popular like My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, Sailor Moon, different things like that. Rather, I'm going to be talking about series that maybe you vaguely heard about but haven't given a try, or that are a little bit older and that I 100% think are worth giving a try. All of these series are available through the Baltimore County Public Library, and you can request and order them through our curbside pickup at our various branches. Alright, first up, we have the series Princess Jellyfish. Princess Jellyfish follows the story of Tsukimi, who is a shut-in nerd that ends up living in this apartment complex full of fellow nerds, and they're all women that are in their early 20s, early 30s, and they're all obsessed with different things. Her thing, as the name might make sense, is jellyfish. She is all about everything jellyfish. And all of the women living in this building live by a couple of different rules. They don't fully see themselves part of society, and so are really awkward around people they call fashionables, and they also don't talk to men or boys. And one day when Tsukimi is going through a pet store, she sees that a jellyfish is in a tank with another creature that would kill it, and is trying to explain this to the pet store owner, and the pet store owner is like, whatever, I don't know what you're saying, this isn't my problem, until a very fashionable woman comes in and basically helps Tsukimi and then gets the jellyfish. And the two of them bring the jellyfish back to her apartment and set it up, and it's super late, so the woman stays over and spends the night. And then the next day you find out that the woman was actually a man cross-dressing, which causes Tsukimi to freak out because she has broken one of the rules of the apartment complex, and it sort of spirals from there with a series of kind of humorous and funny situations all revolving around these different characters, their obsession, and their attempts to try to accept each other and create a living space for each other. It's a really fun series, it's a slice of life series, and there's only 9 volumes, so it's definitely accomplishable to read. Switching into something just a little bit more gruesome, I'm going to talk about Junji Ito. I think I've talked about Junji Ito before, but Junji Ito is one of Japan's greatest horror manga novelists. And in this story, Shiver, this is basically a series of different short stories that aren't really connected. One of my favorite ones, which you can see on the cover here, this person finds out that their family line has the heads detach from the head of the line to the next head of the line when the person dies. And so they have tons and tons of generations with these heads extending out into this giant centipede-like monster. These collections are filled with weird and bizarre horror stories, filled with amazing illustrations. Junji Ito's illustration style is realistic and creepy, but also very bizarre, and they're really, really fun stories. I don't know if I'd quite call them terrifying, but they're fun and weird and bizarre and creepy. Taking a little bit of a lighter note, I'm a huge fan of Pokemon. I love the video games, the show's okay, I played the card game, and I've always wanted a little bit more of a mature storyline that followed the video games a little bit closer. And then I found the Pokemon Adventures manga. Now, the Pokemon Adventures manga follows the story of the video games, but then sort of thinks about what a world would be like if Pokemon were real. So in these stories, you have the characters, this one, Red, adventuring out from Pallet Town, following, the original story of Pokemon. And he gets his starter Pokemon, Pikachu, and sort of goes from there. And in this story, Red ends up facing Team Rocket, who are much more sinister in this storyline, and all of the different things you expect from Pokemon. But because this world's a little bit more realistic, Pokemon are also used as body armor, they're used in real kind of terrorist plots from Team Rocket, they're used to generate electricity, energy, all these different things that, if you've thought about Pokemon more than briefly, probably have passed your mind. So if you're looking for a really fun adventure through the Pokemon world that's just a little bit more mature than the show and the game, give the Pokemon Adventures manga a try. It all follows different arcs based on the games. So if there's a specific game you like, I suggest starting with that game's arc. The next show I'm going to talk about is Assassination Classroom. In Assassination Classroom, A giant squid monster, who's eventually named Koru-sensei, pictured right here, destroys 1/3 of the world's moon, takes on the world's government, and basically fights them to a standstill when they can't hurt him. And Koru-sensei says, I'm going to destroy the planet in 1 year if you let me teach a class in this prestigious Japanese school. Then I'll hold off destroying the planet for 1 year, and in that time, these students and you will have a chance to assassinate me. And that's why it's called Assassination Classroom. The really interesting thing is Koru-sensei ends up really inspiring these students that are in this bottom class that seem to be sort of failing all their classes and not feeling inspired. And Koru-sensei, through his unique teaching style, his energy, and the energy brought about by the potential to assassinate him and win a lot of money, really inspires these students to new heights. It's a 2-season long anime, and so the manga is about 15 volumes, so it's very approachable to read. It's a great slice of life meets some action, and I really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend Assassination Classroom. And the final one, it's called Vinland Saga. And Vinland Saga follows the story of Thorfinn. Thorfinn is a Viking in the Viking era, and he is on a quest for revenge after his father is killed by a mercenary band. And in this quest for revenge, he actually joins said mercenary band and continues to try to kill his father's killer, whose power far surpasses his own. Somewhere along the lines in this story, the story starts examining the questions of what's the role of a hero in a world where they're constantly fighting and causing hurt and pain to everyone around them? What does it look like when that hero slowly becomes aware of that and tries to become more peaceful or pacifist? The author specifically says several times in the manga that he wrote this story as an answer to the typical shonen show where the good characters and the main heroes, the goal is them getting stronger. And he wanted to write a story where the goal was the strong person ends up trying to create and be more peaceful, and what are the challenges of that after they've caused so much damage. Vinland Saga is a fascinating story. It follows some historical actual events, and the author did a lot of research on Viking culture. So if you find the idea of something set in real kind of period and events, but given an anime spin, Vinland Saga might just be for you. It is heavily violent because of the characters that it's based around. Think Attack on Titan, that style of violence. But rather than glorifying it, it eventually builds onto questioning why these things are happening. All right, well, those are my 5 series that you might have missed that I think you should try. I'd love to hear if people are trying other similar series or if you have any recommendations for me. All right, well, until then, I've been Jake, and check out these items through the Baltimore County Public Library.